We'd like to take this opportunity now to bring you in and update you on responses that have been taking place here locally as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. Over about the last week or so, there have been many opportunities for local leaders to be meeting, those from the public sector representing a variety of agencies, to talk about their respective agencies and how they are responding to this pandemic. So today will be a first of a series of programs that will be originating here on Addison Community Television, where we will talk about the local response to the COVID-19 pandemic. Joining me for this first in our program series are Mayor Rich Veenstra and Deputy Police Chief Joe Maranowicz from the Addison Police Department. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming in. I know you guys are busy, you're on the phones constantly, and we can understand that. So, but this is an important time, Mayor, something that has come up over the last few weeks and will probably be here for a while. So let's talk first about some of the things that have been happening locally. You've been convening a series of daily conference calls with some of the local leaders. Can you tell us what the mechanics have been of that? What are some of the things that you found out as a result of having those daily conference calls in the community?
Well, I think one of the things that is abundantly clear is there's information coming from every source constantly, and it's constantly changing. And one of the things that we want to do is make sure our residents are informed about the reality of the outbreak, the pandemic, the effects it has on daily living, and the things that we're doing as a community to minimize the effects and protect our residents from the virus. To that end, I convened a meeting of all of our intergovernmental agencies, School District 88, District 4, the library, the park, all of the involved areas, including the township. And what we want to do is get a broad coalition put together. Each one of us can do things in a little different manner, and working together, building that synergy to make sure that we are providing the maximum attention to our residents is critical. So having these daily meetings, we're updating, we're working together, we're coordinating efforts, and hopefully minimizing the outcome. Knock on wood, to this point, there are no reported cases in Addison, and we'd like to keep it that way. We know realistically that's not going to be the case,
sure,
but to do our best to keep people healthy and safe.
Because the last thing, you don't want a lot of miscommunication. You don't want one agency going off in one direction, one going in the other. You want coordinated efforts. You know, this goes back probably 20 years or more when there was the unified command, unified response. So keeping that spirit in mind, we want everyone to be able to communicate and find out what
right.
the others are doing, and it's a great opportunity to ask questions.
Definitely.
So that's probably the most important part, would you say, of these calls? You do these on a daily basis?
We do it on a daily basis. We took yesterday off, but
no Sunday.
It's been 6 days a week, and actually Representative Willis has been part of those, so we're getting updates from the state as well as local.
Mm-hmm. Very good. Now, on March 20th, the governor of Illinois, Governor Pritzker, issued an executive order which basically involved directing residents across the state to shelter in place. Mm-hmm. Can you define that shelter in place, and really how does that impact, you know, not only residents, but really our local economy when it comes to businesses and just day-to-day living in the community? Why and how is that being done? The
entire purpose of it is to keep people separated and to minimize the contact and the exposure to the virus. What we are seeing based on the essential definitions that came out of the state, what we are encouraging our business community to do is follow those guidelines very scrupulously, taking all the precautions that are suggested. Our industrial area, we've worked with them very closely. A lot of the businesses in town qualify for essential status, and we're working with them to assist them in maintaining their operations and to provide what they do in terms of flow of critical products to the marketplace. So Addison is unique in having the 4th largest industrial base in the state of Illinois. So a lot of what we do is critical to maintaining product flow throughout the state. And so a lot of businesses will stay open. We will just work with them to make sure that they maintain the safety factors, the distancing, 6-foot distances, and things in terms of monitoring for the outbreak.
The economy is so sensitive, it can just spiral to one direction or the other. So we want to be aware of that, but at the same time aware of, as you just said, the safety,
Right.
health, and well-being of our residents and their employees as well, and the consumers that might do business in those establishments.
And I think one of the things to remember, especially shelter in place, a lot of families are at home. The question has come up, can we have parties? Can we have game days and play days?
Sure.
The reason the schools are closed is to keep the kids apart from each other. And so we encourage people not to do that. There's a lot of home activities that they can do that will keep the kids engaged and maybe the parents sane.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is we really need to keep that separation.
In fact, later this week, we'll be talking with representatives of both the elementary and the high school districts here in Addison, and we'll talk a bit more about that and what students should be doing and what parents should be doing along with their students as well. Deputy Chief Maranowicz, let's talk about some of the issues that happen in the public service, both with the village offices, what's happened in the last several days, and also with first responders. From the police department standpoint and fire department as well, can you update our community on what's been going on? First of all, let's talk about first responders, and then we'll get to the village offices.
Oh, that's
and what's been going on with them. How have they been conducting their standard operating procedure when it comes to this situation?
Sure, that's a good point. From now on, for residents, when you make a phone call and you need police service or you need ambulance or fire services, you're going to be asked a series of questions. You can expect to be asked, hey, do you have a fever? Do you have a sore throat? And have you traveled anywhere? What they're doing is they're gathering that information so then we can relay that to our first responders. So then if needed, we could take the appropriate course of action, protective wear, mask, gloves if needed.
And that's for fire department, paramedics as well,
Yes,
right?
yes, that's for fire department and your police departments. So expect those questions to be asked. And then a follow-up might be on a typical call where we might come face to face with you, anticipate the question of, would you be okay if we just take a phone report? And it seems a lot of residents are really taking advantage of that. They can do a station report where a police officer will call you at your residence at the phone number that you give, cell phone, landline, and then we can take the whole report via phone. And give you a report number, and then you can follow that up at a later time.
But always call 911 in the case of an emergency.
Always an emergency. If it's not an emergency, we call the non-emergency
They'll be
number.
connected at the ACDC dispatching headquarters and take it from there.
That is correct.
Good. Very good. How about it with the village offices? Village Hall is officially closed to the public, but we still conduct the business that needs to be done for the public.
Good point. I can't remember another time.
Yeah, I don't
well,
think
you've
there's ever
here how
been
many
one.
years,
Well,
right?
far too many, I guess, but there's never been another time.
To our residents, the Village Hall is closed. However, that's the bad news. A bit of good news is we remain operational. And how do we do that? We're using no longer the main entrance of the Village Hall. Instead, we're using the police department lobby. So you can go there for police services if needed, but what's really unique about us and the way we're set up, we actually have an area that is fully glass partitioned, and residents can come in and meet with a community development personnel and or finance personnel. Obviously, we're encouraging people, if you need to pay a water bill, to use the white drop box outside in the Village Hall. But if you needed certain things in community development, if you needed to apply for a permit, whatnot, we're remaining operational. So the permit applications can come in and potentially contractors can still work. If you need to pay certain bills, a water bill of some kind, and need to speak with somebody, you're going to have interaction with somebody from the Village of Addison, which is a really, really nice thing that we have going on here for the residents.
So services continue, though we say that the building is closed, the operation of government continues on.
Sure, there are some limited capacities that we have. Certain inspections will be done on an emergency basis, but we want to remain operational and limiting certain capacities. You'll see around town, our public works, they're still patching holes, right? They're on the streets and they're doing that. But certain services, minimized, but we're still operational.
Can you give a word also, Joe, about the recycling center at the North Wastewater Treatment Plant? There have been some changes made to that operation.
Yes, with the recycling center, we've determined to halt that operation at this point. And moving forward, we'll reassess that in about 3 to 4 weeks, and we'll put out information if and when that is reopened.
Okay. Mayor, let's address the situation or our constituency right now that's very important. That would be our senior citizens. They are a group that are active adults, but yet at the same time, they want to make sure that things are safe for them to travel about the community if they are so inclined, or if they do have need to get out to grocery stores or other businesses. And they also want to make sure that somebody is kind of checking in on them and looking after them as well. So let's address yourself now to the senior citizens of the community. What do they need to know what's going on?
Well, you know, first of all, we are very concerned about our senior citizens because it seems like they are most susceptible to the virus and have outcomes that are a little bit more serious than younger population. But again, because there's so much media coverage and it changes on a daily basis, there's a lot of confusion. So what we've implemented through our police department, I asked them to start calling all of our seniors. And physically, we have been calling starting last week. And the attempt is to reach all of our seniors by phone, by our police staff. And we will be repeating this. We'd like to contact the seniors a couple of times a week.
They appreciate those calls too, don't
The
they?
feedback has been very, very positive.
Very good.
Giving them information, finding out how they're doing, if they need help, if there's any problems that we could address for them. And what I would really encourage is if seniors haven't been called, call into the village to give us your phone number, because if they're not on our list, we can't call them. So that will help us build a list and be able to be more in touch. And to the non-seniors, I would encourage everybody to pick up the phone, call your neighbor, find out how they're doing and if there's things that could be done. The grocery stores have been very, very good in extending hours, and virtually all of the food stores in town are now having senior hours.
We're giving that information on the screen also, Mayor, as we speak.
That is very user-friendly for our seniors. It minimizes the interaction they have with other community members. Caputo's are Tuesday, Thursday from 6 to 7:30. Jewel, Tuesday and Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. Walmart, Tuesday, 6 to 7 a.m. You could also place orders online with Walmart. Aldi's, Tuesday and Thursday from 8:30 to 9:30. And they also have a special time for pregnant women, which is something that's kind of unique right now. And just also, I think we all need to understand that CVS and Walmart have started to provide free delivery service, so you don't have to stand in long lines to get your prescriptions filled. So a lot of things are happening by our vendors, and I would certainly encourage all of our residents to utilize them. And our restaurants have pickup curbside service. They're going through a very difficult time. They can't have sit-down dining, and this puts a huge financial strain on their budgets.
Now more than ever, not only shop Addison, but also dine in Addison as well.
Right.
Good. All right. Yeah, it's critical to do that. There are certain constituencies in the community, Joe, that need a meal service that is provided to them, or need the ability to access food pantry type items as well. And there's a couple of agencies that have been working really hard since this all began. Can you just tell us a bit about some of the meal availabilities for those who have those types of needs? What's available in the community for them?
Sure, and this starts all the way from probably a week to 10 days ago under Mayor Veenstra's leadership, right, with the intergovernmental meetings he's been having. We all came together, and Township is saying, hey, we have food services, and it was originally Tuesdays and Thursdays, and that was at a set time. Well, we adjust, and we adjust on the fly. So as of today, we're going to have, for seniors, Addison seniors, residents here, from 8 to 9 a.m. every Tuesday and Thursday. The Township offices right there on Addison Road there.
Addison Township.
Addison Township, yes. They're going to be able to serve our senior residents from 8 to 9 a.m. All other residents can be served from 9 a.m. till noon, again, on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And so that's great. And then along with our school districts.
Yeah. Just a word on the Township Food Pantry. Very easy in, easy out. You don't even have to get out of your vehicle to do that.
Yeah, thank you for saying that, Don. You're not going to be able to, you're going to stay inside your car. They're going to ask very simplistic things, bring it right to you. It's going to be 1, 2, 3. There's going to be a flow. You might see a little bit of a police presence there. Yeah. That's just to ensure the safety of coming off of Addison Road.
We want to encourage people, when you do that, bring your patients with you because it's going to
Sure.
take a little while.
Sure, but you know what? So far, this town's been great.
Good.
We've had some long lines, but everyone knows what
You were
to
mentioning
do.
schools. Go ahead.
Schools next, under Mayor Veenstra's leadership too. There's been thousands of families that have been fed and students that have been fed. I think we're over 10,000
Yeah.
just last week. If that's right, Mayor.
10,000 last week. Yeah.
10,000 last week. So everyone came together. Now, as things change, what the school districts are going to be doing is they're going to be giving food in a weekly supply.
Okay.
It was a pretty severe tax on volunteers and people coming there, and we want to create that social distancing, right, and not having all that interaction constantly. So what they're going to be doing is doing a weekly drop-off of food, and I know you're going to have those
Right.
superintendents
We will have
on
them
in
here.
in a couple days from now. So I'm sure they'll give more information at that time.
Very good. Mayor, final comment from you on operations. How are things going from the 30,000-foot level? I know you talked to Representative Willis. What do you think about all this?
You know, I'm very, very proud of all of our agencies that are working together. We talk about the Addison advantage, and we kind of laugh about it because sometimes we tend to overuse it. But what I'm seeing is really a community of caring. Village of Friendship certainly is underscored. It's amazing how all these agencies are working together. What I'm asking from our residents is that they understand the urgency and the importance and practice the social distancing, do the things that are judicious. They can go out, they can shop, they can do the things that are essential, but working together, we're going to beat this and we're going to come out a lot stronger.
We encourage you to stay informed. We've covered a lot of information in a very short amount of time. And how do you stay informed? The best way to do that would be to go to addisonadvantage.org. That's the official Village of Addison website. You will find a very nicely designed, very special section there on COVID-19, and you can look up all the information that we've discussed in our conversation today. The Village's Facebook page is Village of Addison. Their Twitter feed is @AddisonVillage. Please sign up for the Code Red emergency notification system so we can get information out to you in the event of an emergency or any other general news and information. It will be phoned to you, or you can have an email or a text message, cell phone, whatever you prefer. And then, of course, get on our new mobile app. It's called Addison Connected. So make sure you download the Addison Connected mobile app. It replaces the previous mobile app, and this way you'll be up to date as well. There will continue to be public service announcements broadcast here on Addison Community Television, and we encourage and invite you to stay tuned and watch for those as well. We'll be back later this week with representatives from Addison School District 4 and DuPage High School District 88, but for now, my thanks to Addison's Village Mayor, Rich Veenstra, and also Deputy Chief of Police, Joe Maranowicz. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you, Dan.